I started reading since when I was in school because it was mandatory to read. We had like library classes. And in high school, when probably I was in 8th or 9th grade, I picked up reading because of this book called Revolution 2020. Everybody was reading Chetan Bhagat, and I do remember people telling Chetan Bhagat books are not for people who are in high school. It's even our library had a restriction part of a library where that part of a library was only for 11th and 12th graders, which had Chetan Bhagat books, but we were not allowed to access that part of the library or borrow those books. But obviously we all had copies and we were exchanging our copies with each other and reading the copy, and that's how I got into reading. The hype around it was so much that when you say do not read this book, now I want to know why. Like how I read A Little Life, probably back then I wondered why the hell are we restricted to read Revolution 2020. And that's how I started to read Revolution 2020. I started to read Two States, One Night at a Call Center. It started off with Chetan Bhagat, and then we went to John Green, reading Looking for Alaska, Fault in Our Stars. I started reading off with those authors. I did not know what to read. Like back in college, when I was doing my intermediate, we were not allowed phones. Reading became a habit then because we had no other pastime, right? All we had to do is either play games, talk to each other, or read books. Back then, I did not get my own books. I used to borrow books from my friends and read and return it back to them. I picked up the habit somewhere, and I'm glad that I was surrounded by that environment back in school, back in college, where we had no access to mobiles. I think mobiles are the problem. I think our phones are a problem. When I went to move to college, I did not really love my college. I think we were not allowed phones back then. Also, we used to sneak phones in. I used to pick up books like what were famous books because I do not know what to read, right? Oh, I remember following this page, The Coffee Stained. I still follow her. She's Arunita. I remember reading all the books that were rated 5 stars by her. I still now, if she's rating something 5 stars, I put it on my TBR, and some point of the time I do read that, and I trust her with her 5 stars. I remember mostly seeing Prajakta Kohli talking about Murakami, and even Anunita used to talk a lot about Murakami. So I was like, okay, let's see what's the big deal about Murakami. And I started reading Murakami books, and I probably read around 6 to 7 Murakami books by now. Reading Murakami needs a different mindset. You need to be in a different mood, and you need to be ready to go into that Murakami mindset. You pick the book up till the time you finish the book. Even after finishing the book, you need some time to get to another book. To get out of that Murakami mindset, you need a lot of time for that. I used to save money, go to Sunday book bazaars and buy books. Somehow, I bumped into Colleen Hoover. It ends with us. With us was a really big thing back then. I did not know all the controversy behind it back then. Obviously, probably that time there was no controversy at all, or it did not reach to me. That book traumatized me. Like I used to have nightmares, a lot about abuse and all, right? So I had a lot of trauma reading that book, and somehow I went to the Colleen Hoover side. Like if I like an author, I'm like going to see what. I do not know if I liked the author. I just thought she was famous, and there was a different writing style, and I do not know why, but I picked all her books up. Somehow Instagram algorithm helped me find romance as a genre, and there is no going back since then. Like I didn't know romance as a genre had like so many subsets in them, like this to lover, forced proximity, marriage of convenience. There's so many subsets of that it blew my mind. Like every book I'm reading, it made no sense. It's very filmy. Everybody were billionaires in the romance novels, and then there are again a different set of romance book which is small town, which there are very simple people. And I went into that loop of reading romance, And then to get out of it, I used to like pick some serious books like A Little Life and get super upset or super sad. I do not know why. I either read super sad books or I read romance books. There were days where I thought I was not a reader because I was not reading as much as other people on Instagram were reading. Because I've seen people read around 100 books per year, some read 60 books per month. I do not know how they do that. I probably read 2 books per month or 1 book per month. On good months, I read 3. I don't think the number of books justify that if we are a reader or no. If we read books, we are a reader. You read 3 books per year, or probably 3 books per year. You wouldn't call yourself a reader, or what do I know? That is my reading story. Out of all this, what I have learned is if you're not vibing with the book you're reading currently, ditch it. Do not read it. I remember reading some books that I was not interested in, or I used to force myself to read because somebody said it's really good and it's gonna change your life. If you're not vibing with that book currently, ditch it. It's probably not the book for you, or it's not the book for you at that moment. Like, I remember reading A Man Called Ove, and I picked it up again because Arunita rated it 5 stars. It is a slow paced book, and I was not used to slow paced books. I did not know the difference between a slow paced book and a fast paced book. I could not vibe with the book back then when I was reading it. I ditched the book and I came back to the book when I was in the right mindset. I am a mood reader, so I read according to what my mood is. Suppose I want to read a thriller today, I'm going to read a thriller today. And suppose tomorrow suddenly my mind changes and I moved romance, or I moved to a sad book. So sometimes you do not vibe with the book at that time, but you may love it in the future when you pick it up in the right mindset. If you do not vibe with the book, do not read the book then. Give it some time, pick up another book, see what you like, and then read. Like, I also remember telling a lot of my friends that do not go with reading like you want to achieve something or you want to become like really smart, because it's not your habit, right? If it's not your habit, it's gonna get only difficult. If I pick self-help book first and I am not a reader, I probably would hate reading and I probably would not like reading at all. I started picking up the genres I like. Suppose I like thriller, I'm gonna read a lot of thriller books. Don't have to overthink it. Like how you like genres of movie, you like a genres of book. And yeah, I'm not the person who you can go to asking Rex for what book will change your entire life. I do not know. No book has changed my entire life, and every book has changed my entire life. Every book teaches you something, and the most important thing I have learned with reading is you learn a lot about different personalities, you learn a lot about people without even meeting people. You learn empathy, learn emotions of people. After so much of yapping, the entire conclusion of it is pick that book up. Pick up a book, find your interest. It will take some time. It will take some time for you to get to your interest, find your genre, and why you like reading. I am reading Sorrows and Bliss right now, and that book is full of the words I do not know, and I have to underline everything, Google the meaning because I'm reading a physical copy, and I still have to figure out what the words are, what it means. That way, it's also improving your vocab. So yeah, there's only good with reading. Conclusion: read. I'm gonna go now. Bye.